Good day, good day. Hi, I'm Michael Norville, and you're watching Mind, Booty, and Soul Television. Mind, Booty, and Soul Television is an online video magazine that uncovers the things that affects our mental, our spiritual, and most of all, our sexual behaviors. When you think of Mind, Booty, and Soul, I'm sure the word booty just comes straight to your mind, but you know, there are other words that are around mind, booty, and soul. There's a mind and a soul. So today we're actually going to start talking about the mind and some of the things that are affecting our behavior. We're here today with Sheva Carr at Fiera, and I'm so happy to bring her on the show. Sheva's actually, I guess I would call her a heart therapist. You know, you actually really get into the heart. So why don't you tell a little bit about some of the research, some of the things you do?
Sure. Well, so first of all, Fiera is a word that I invented that is like that great feeling that you have when your arms flip over your head and a yes flies out of your mouth and you feel your mind, booty, and soul are all in alignment.
Now, we were talking about this off camera, and you were saying that, you know, it's a way to actually bring all three together, the heart, you know, because when I first came up with this concept, it was just an inspiration, and, you know, it was like part of my imagination. I was like, that came up with the term mind, booty, and soul. Right. And you actually say the heart is the thing that kind of guides all three of them together?
It is. There's this amazing principle in physics called entrainment.
Entrainment.
Okay, so you got to imagine, let's say that you have pendulum clocks. This is where this was discovered, by the way. A Dutch watchmaker. Couple hundred years ago, had a bunch of pendulum clocks that he was fixing, right? All going at different rates, different sizes, little baby, big grandfather clocks. And he went out to lunch, came back, and what do you think happened to all his clocks?
They were in sync.
Yes.
How did they get in
sync? Is not just a rock band. It's actually the state of being that we're in when our mind, booty, and soul are all working together. And it turns out that state of being not only feels amazing, but it's really good for you.
Okay.
It's good for your health. It's good for your relationships. It's good for the way your brain works. And it's good for your performance on the job. It's the optimal state to be in. It's the state that athletes call the zone, right? When your mind, booty, and soul are working together instead of in opposition.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can do in the zone. You know, I've done some things, especially athletic-wise, that I'm just like, I wish I had like some camera so I can see it for myself, because how did I do that? So that's a wonderful state to be in. But I think we're a little bit ahead of ourselves, because I wanted you to go a little bit of the research and history of, I guess we're talking about the heart chakra here versus the brain, because, you know, we're in a Western society, and the mind is like the top of the hierarchy, you know. Everything follows from what we think, everything, you know, our body is a derivative of our mind, but you have a different theory here.
Not necessarily, because I'm not talking about heart versus brain. There it is again, the split, right?
Right.
And that split occurred in, you know, the 17th century, really, when researchers first started taking the body apart and piecing it together, and they turned the heart into a pump and the brain into where our identity is. But point to yourself, Michael.
Point to myself?
Yeah, point to yourself.
I mean, I take up this whole space, so everywhere I point would be myself.
So usually when I ask audiences to point to themselves, they go like this. Have you ever seen anybody go like this?
Oh, I guess
or
when
like
I'm
that?
trying to shoot myself in the head.
Right?
Yeah.
That we naturally feel something about us is here. Well, in ancient Chinese medicine, in ancient Greek medicine, even in ancient Indian medicines, they put the mind in the heart. And actually now there's a whole new field of research that's discovered there's a brain in the heart. A literal brain. A brain with its own neurons, support cells, neurotransmitters, proteins. So this intelligence in the heart turns out to have a unique ability to bring together all the aspects of our being. Like those pendulum clocks going into sync, right? This Dutch watchmaker comes back from his lunch and he sees all his clocks all beating together. It wasn't like a joyful moment for him. He's like, what happened, right?
Yeah.
So he, you know, back in that day, figured spirits came and messed up his clocks. So he messed them up again, walked outside, came back, and there they were all in sync. And what he'd stumbled onto is this physics principle called entrainment. Well, it turns out our bodies work the same way. We are essentially, not to reduce us just to that, a lot of electrical oscillators, electrical impulses communicating with each other.
Wow.
So your mind is one aspect, or the way you think, your emotions, your liver and your gallbladder and your immune system, all these things are talking to each other.
But you mentioned that somewhere in the 17th century they started to break everything and separate everything apart.
Reductionism, right, yeah.
I don't understand. I didn't know about that. I guess I'm living that effect where especially now men are focused on body parts. So is this like an expression or a derivative of something that was done 200 years ago?
Well, I don't know, because I wasn't around 300 years ago to see the change, right?
Great.
But what I can tell you is the good news is that there is a way that we can bring all of our conflicting desires and thought processes and feelings. Have you ever had that experience where your mind wants to go one way and your booty wants to go the other?
Yeah, all the time.
Right?
It's conflict.
And that creates stress, doesn't it?
It can
create a lot of stress for people.
It can.
A lot of conflict inside, right? Should I take this job? Should I not? Should I date this person? Should I have an affair? All these types of things, right?
Yes.
And it's like, well, how do you harmonize all that in yourself? It turns out that the heart is a key to that. There's an intelligence in the heart and a power in the heart. Each heart cell is its own battery. Every heart cell, the heart's a completely unique tissue, by the way. First organ to form in the fetus.
Okay.
The brain grows out of the heart. All the other organ systems form around it. It's like the trunk around which everything organizes.
Now you were saying that the heart just emits more energy than it takes up.
Correct.
So
There's
it's like
no mechanical engineer that has been able to replicate the mechanical efficiency of the heart.
Okay.
So scientists still don't know what initiates the first heartbeat. There's your soul, right? We don't know what starts the heartbeat. It starts before the brain forms. So it operates independent of the brain. When they do heart transplants, they can't reconnect the nerve pathway along which the brain talks to the heart. So the heart beats on its own during the transplant.
Now, we live in a Western culture where the brain is, like I said, top dog here,
Right.
It's all about our intellectual, and it's all about our expression and our minds, and our body is a demon, and, we got to subdue these kind of desires because it's really all up here, But now you're telling me it's really...
You look stressed when you say that.
Do I?
It's all up here.
Because I'm being, what do they call it, refined and proper.
Oh,
I just get these visions of these, ancient... London, British type of films where, the guy, they're basically saying, we're of essence and we're elites and, so anyways.
All right, well then I have a funny story to tell you.
Okay, tell me.
You ever seen this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, where you seen that?
When people are stressed and they're really looking at you, my mother, or.
Right, this is what keeps Botox docs in business, right? Okay?
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. If we were to divide your brain into 3 sections,
okay. Like we do everything else.
Right, there we go. We'll join in the reductionism here for a moment.
Okay.
Ideally, we want them all 3 sections working together. The first section of the brain, the hind brain or the brain stem, is designed for raw survival.
Raw, gotcha.
We share this with lizards and reptiles, okay?
Our animal instincts, supposedly, right?
Well, that type of animal, okay? An animal that just knows approach, avoid. Like basically, I'll eat you, you'll eat me, I'll procreate with you. That's it, right? Those 3 functions.
I can see a lot of humans operating in that spirit.
All right, so we got booty covered there.
Yes, we do.
Right? Then the midbrain came along as our next stage of evolution. And that we share with other mammals, and it's got an amygdala and a thalamus and all these things. This is where emotions kicked in, the middle brain. Okay? And the midbrain brought emotions as a part of evolution for our survival. So emotions were survival adaptation.
In what way?
Well, like if you ate my brother yesterday and I see you tomorrow and I'm
you out.
afraid of you, then that fear will help me avoid you better.
Or that anger might help me,
Kick your butt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got you.
All right,
Yeah.
so now we've got at least a part of the mind and the booty. All right? This is the latest addition, the third brain, frontal lobes. You don't see dinosaurs wandering around with big foreheads, right? Okay?
I can't, yeah.
They had
It's all
long
back.
necks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So approach avoidance, but not too much of this going on. This is what human beings have and some other mammals. And it's this that allows us, what you're calling refined behavior, is really situation appropriate behavior, right? Discernment, but also visioning, planning, creativity, inspiration, that place where you got the imaginative inspiration for mind, booty, and soul. All that happens in this higher cortex. Our ability to have this conversation right now, happening here, okay? Here's the interesting thing. When we do this, that is a picture of us shutting off our most recent brain, the part of us that would allow us to respond to life in a refined way. Why? Because we're reacting to something like, let's say, a deadline, or traffic, or I forgot to bring the music for the taping today, or whatever it is, right? As if it's a survival threat. And then our intelligence says, if there's a tiger in this room, I don't want to think about which way to run away. I just want to run. I don't want to go online and do a search for where a Barnes & Noble is or the next best bookstore so that I can buy a calculus book on my way away from the tiger. So I just want to get out of there.
We're just on automatic pilot then.
Then we're on automatic, pre-programmed pilot for survival. It's part of our intelligence that shuts this down when we're under stress. The problem is our modern stressors are not survival threats. How does the heart come into this? Well, it's really the heart intelligence signaling to the brain which part of it should pay attention. So when you get stressed out, what happens to your heart?
Beats a little faster.
Chaotic, right?
Yeah, I don't breathe.
Right. That scrambled signal from the heart tells this part of the brain to shut down. So you need the heart intelligence working with the brain to be able to have that refined behavior that you're talking about.
This sounds like a whole bunch of conspiracy here, because when I look at historically and some of the things I've been doing, and I take a look at modern day media, I'm thinking to myself, is all these things have been happening these hundreds of years been designed to keep me away from my heart and think up here? Because if I function up here, I'm much more profitable to a corporation than if I function down here. I'm much more happier to myself.
Wrong.
Wrong?
Wrong. That's why the work that I do, I get paid big money to go into corporations and teach them this stuff. Because corporations make a lot more money when their employees are using their brain and their heart.
But what are they sending out signal-wise to the public, to the buying public? They're not really giving, as you mentioned before, your company is unique because it's basically underneath heart math, and you actually bring this technology to everyday people.
Correct.
Prior to companies like you, basically it was just in the realm of corporations from heart math. Am I correct on that assumption? I guess what I'm saying is that the corporations had access to this information much more than the general population, and they were accessing to create their profit line and margin, correct?
Oh, no, not necessarily. In other words, heart math, which we haven't really introduced yet, is the company and research institute that has researched the physiology of the heart and brain and how our emotions interact with the heart and the brain to optimize performance, right?
Gotcha.
So HeartMath has been doing that research for 17 years. And I began working with them about 12 years ago when I was stressed out myself and looking for solutions. I was walking around like this all day long. It's so bad, by the way, that when I showed up at HeartMath to fill out my volunteer form, I couldn't remember my own phone number. That's how shut down my brain was, right? Within a day, the way that my own physiology, my own body and brain were working had completely changed, and I was back to my old self. So that was 12 years ago. And over the course of that time, I worked closely with HeartMath and said, I was a physician at the time, and I said, this is the best thing that I've seen in terms of helping my patients. 97% of all doctors' visits are stress-related. Directly linked to stress, according to the American Institute of Stress.
Yeah, well, health is at stake. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, health is at stake. Relationships are at stake. You can't remember your phone number. There's a lot that's at stake because of stress, right? So I said, when I started working with the power of the heart with my clients, and saw the empowering impact that that had for them, that no longer did they need to come get treatments from me every week, because they were able to treat themselves by managing their stress on the spot. They didn't need to come get massage or acupuncture or, as much anyway, because they could be in a traffic jam sitting in their car and get back into the heart, where then they could access their higher brain and respond to life with more fulfilling and appropriate behaviors that would give them more satisfying outcomes in their lives. And so then that's when I approached HeartMath and I said, look, this is the best thing I'm offering my patients. This is what I want to give the world. Your research and the tools that you've developed. And so out of that, they licensed me to start this company called Fiera. And so Fiera is that great feeling when you're in the heart and you're optimizing your brain and your immune system and your mind, booty, and soul are in sync. And
yeah, I felt that many times, especially I said physical-wise, when you're especially doing athletic sports and competition, you find yourself by losing yourself. That's my theory. But to bring this to more applicable to our daily, our audience now, if you look at the modern woman is in this society.
I'm looking at her.
Yeah. And then she's beautiful and expressive and all these wonderful things. But a lot of the modern women I run into, they're actually trying to access this, kind of corporate paradigm, which says that you have to rip yourself from your emotions. So you got to make these business line decisions. You can't allow your emotions to affect your business mind, and so they feel as though that their heart or their emotions is actually prohibiting them from being successful in this westernized culture.
Yeah,
what would you have to say to that?
Well, I don't think just women are subject to that. I think that's partly why 97% of all doctors' visits are caused by stress, and why heart disease is the #1 killer in the developed world, right? Because there's this mythology that we have to cut ourselves off from the heart to be successful. But in fact, really what we're finding, and thank you to HeartMath Research, what they've been able to document, is that in fact, it's in intelligently learning to listen to emotions and bring them into a more coherent or ordered pattern, that we can harness the main source of energy and intelligence in our system and be much more effective. I'm a member of an entrepreneurs organization, and this particular organization interviewed 5,000 successful entrepreneurs. These are people, most businesses go out of business in the first 5 years. 95% of all businesses go out of business the first 5 years. Now, I'm the CEO of my own business, so that's an interesting statistic for me, right? Here I am, the modern woman running my own business, right? Okay. 95% of all businesses go out of business within the first 5 years. 50% are gone in the first year.
Wow.
And so this organization interviewed 5,000 successful entrepreneurs, which meant they were profitable and still going in their 6th year, right? It had to be profitable, significantly profitable. And they had one thing in common, those entrepreneurs, just one. What do you think that was?
Work a lot of hours, dedication?
No. As a matter of fact, most of them worked smarter, not harder. Maybe they worked harder, not harder, right?
You said that before.
I have never said that before. It's your inspiration that inspired that. I'll tell you though, I will say it again. I like it. They work harder, right? Maybe I should trademark that.
No, you said it here. It's mine. No. But, so what do they have in common?
It was that they worked harder.
Harder.
Meaning, now that wasn't what they said, but in every situation, it was their passion that drove their business. That's emotion, passion.
It is. It can be blinding, though. But I guess that's what you need in order to be successful,
Well, so there's a difference between the blinding passion and intelligent passion, right? Blinding passion is passion that comes from our survival drive.
Very good point.
Intelligent passion is passion that comes from the true heart. And in my experience, that's passion that comes from appreciation of life, celebration of life, and care for life. Whatever you care about, that will drive you to your highest level of intelligence, your highest level of health, your highest level of performance. And now we have science that proves that.
But you know, when we care about something, we also get hurt.
Ah.
So you know, we're doing a lot of things to protect.
I didn't say overcare.
Overcare. Okay, you know, now you're giving me limitations on how much I
Care?
care. I mean, I didn't know that there was I thought it was either on or off. I either care or I didn't
Most
care.
people do, and so they think that care is overcaring. Overcaring is a heart math concept. I got to give them credit, because I'll tell you, it's my all-time favorite distinction.
Okay.
I always say if I was stranded on a desert island, I could only bring one thing with me. I would bring the overcare-care distinction.
Out of all the things you can bring,
yeah,
you're stranded on an island by yourself, and you would bring a distinction.
You bet I would. Because with this, I could, I swear with this, I could solve any problem. I could find a way off the island. I could find clothes, because if I stay in true care, which comes from the heart, then that is where my heart and brain are at their optimal communication, optimal intelligence. And with that care, I could take care of myself. But if I overcare, which is care that gets carried too far and turns into anger, frustration, worry, fear, okay?
Negative emotions.
Stress. Mm-hmm. Then that will scramble the signal. It'll create static, like we're on TV right now. Mm-hmm. Ever watch TV and it all goes static? Mm-hmm, Can't get the message, right?
Exactly.
Well, when we go to stress, that's like static to the heart's intelligence signal to the brain.
So now, some of the tools that you have, like the measures, the heart rhythm.
Yeah, we have one right here, this little M wave.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Actually measures the heart rhythm in real time, so it can show you. You want to try it?
No, I do.
All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to hook that to your earlobe, okay? All right. And this to your shirt, so that this isn't pulling on your ear.
Okay.
Lend me your ear.
Where have I heard that before? Oh, God, where's my earlobe? Here we go.
All right, now that part you want to hook to your shirt.
And without touching the mic.
Multitasking. Okay.
Yeah, trying to be aware. Okay, you
all right,
read
so
this for me?
This is going to show you whether your heart's signal has got static, so you're in overcare or stress.
Okay.
Or whether you're in that zone, where your mind, booty, and soul are in alignment.
Okay.
That's what we're going for, right? And this is a mind, booty, and soul meter.
Mind, booty, and soul meter.
It's actually called the M wave.
You know.
We could talk about co-branding.
I love that.
All right. So in a second here, what we're going to see is your heartbeat. There it is. That's your heartbeat right there.
That is.
That fun?
Yeah. So am I in an equilibrium mode? Can I attract all possibilities right now?
Well, right about now, you got some static going on.
Oh, I got static going on. Wow. Okay.
All right. That's what red means. But that's not bad news.
Mm-hmm.
That's average. Most of us are living there most of the time.
So what can I do now that I realize I'm in static mode? What do I do to bring myself down to a more efficient, you said, what did you mention earlier, heartful manner?
A harmonized, right? You got your mind, booty, and soul all in alignment. So what I want you to do is just focus your attention on the area around your heart. And then breathe even breaths, as if your breath is coming in through the heart and out through the heart. Now already you're in a higher state. Just from focusing on your heart, it turned blue. Okay?
You know I like blue.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, royalty, yeah.
Blue.
Yeah.
All right. Now what you want to do is, this is a breath pacer. So as these lights go up, you're going to breathe in. And as they go out, down, you're going to breathe out. Now it's blue again, right? Now here's the third key. Connect with something you care about.
That's easy.
Something you appreciate. And just breathe that appreciation as you breathe in and as you breathe out. So you're tracking the lights going.
See, I went red again.
Because you're trying too hard.
You know, I'm trying to, you know what it is?
Nothing like performance anxiety. The whole world is looking at your heartbeat right now.
It's a lot of things I'm trying to think of. You know, I'm trying to be one-on-one with you in this conversation. I'm trying to think. See, once you brought me at that special place, I'm like, okay, you know what? I can only think about this when I'm really into it. You know?
All right, so this is very key, right? Because it's not about thinking about what you care about. Remember, each heart cell is its own battery. So the electrical power of the heart is 60 to 80 times greater than the brain. What that means is, have you ever said positive affirmations and you're like, I am rich, I am happy, I am wealthy, I am wise, and you can just sit there behind your steering wheel saying it over and over again, I am beautiful, and really I feel like crap.
Yeah.
And it ain't happening.
Well,
It's
I never
because,
done those, but yeah.
it's because the heart is more powerful than the brain. So you've got to get the feelings to shift. So it's not about thinking about what you care about, it's about really caring.
Wow.
And just hearing that
Well, I went to green.
put you in a peak state.
I saw green on the corner
Yeah.
of my eye. What did green mean?
Green is the highest,
Oh,
or the
wow.
most,
You know, it was
the
there
optimal
for
state,
a second,
the zone.
you know, and so I had, again, I was focused on, I need to work on that.
Well, that's the advantage. There you go. That must be true. No, it's
No,
not
did
really
you
a
press
lie
something?
detector.
You pressed something.
No.
Okay, that was
Here,
great.
I'm going to give it to you.
All right, well,
So-
I think we're kind of coming to our conclusion here, you know. This is wonderful. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
I cannot believe we're on the conclusion so fast.
went
You know,
fast,
what
huh?
happened? You know, I mean, I wanted more information. So.
Well, I'm happy to come back. I love this. It's definitely my fiera to bring people this optimal state in this fiera zone.
This is what you're absolutely dedicated to.
I love it, yeah, to bring the power of the heart to the world.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. You know, this is another edition of Mind, Booty, and Soul Television. You know, again, we're trying to bring you a balance, you know, a balance between your mind, your consciousness, your experience, and your behaviors, and how is that all wrapped up into our sexual expression. So stay tuned. You'll see us next week, and you look for more inviting, stimulating information from Mind, Booty, and Soul Television.